made your mark, taken the chances, made the mistakes, grown as a person, and you've got the rewards for it. You're not just one of the greats. Some say you could be the greatest of all time. You're the champion, the legend. You are unstoppable. And then suddenly, there's him. What's his story? What's his secret? How did he get so good? He started early. All the greats do that. He posted achievements beyond his years. He wasn't afraid of the establishment. He's talented, fearless, and passionate. So you wonder, who is this guy? And then it hits you. He's you. Because you were once the young talent sticking it to the old guard. You were once the plucky outsider with the devoted dad pushing you on. It all sounds familiar, right? But there's something else. You saw off all the rest. You beat them into submission, but this guy is different. He won't be intimidated, and you know why? He's not afraid of you. On and off the track, he won't yield. He won't bow down or doff his branded racing cap. The challenge is so intense that even you, the 7-time world champion, have made mistakes. But you're not afraid of him. This is the new challenge, and you welcome that. Hunger doesn't fade just because you've tasted glory. So what will this weekend's story be? Are we about to see the growing of a legend, or the start of a new one?
After a very long season, it is down to 2 drivers, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Last season, in 2021, it went down to the wire. Both drivers were tied on points going into the final race. Either one had a shot to win the championship. Max Verstappen ended up qualifying on pole with Lewis Hamilton qualifying second. Going into the race, Max Verstappen was not able to get off the line very well, while Hamilton shot up into the race lead immediately. And by then, once Verstappen got off the line, Hamilton was already with a comfortable gap over Max Verstappen. Today, in F1 2021, I try to recreate that race best I can. So, here we go. Hamilton starts on pole. It's lights out and away we go. Just as the real race, Hamilton gets off well. Charles Leclerc from P6 already up into P3, excuse me. right there, that move that I just made is a replica of the move that Max Verstappen actually made on the real race first lap. Hamilton ended up having to go off track. Verstappen was convinced that Hamilton had to give the position back. However, the stewards, the F1 officials, decided that there was no investigation necessary, and from there on out, Hamilton had a massive lead over Verstappen. So, unlike what's happening right now, Verstappen was a ways back away from Hamilton. Hamilton now with a comfortable gap over our Red Bull of Max Verstappen. By the time DRS was available, Max was nowhere near Hamilton. Max had already begun to complain about his rear tires. You see the importance of DRS and why it's so important to have as your best friend in a race. Verstappen ended up hitting for the hards. Hamilton did not follow, but did not go with. However, this did allow, this was the undercut attempt by Verstappen. Unfortunately, didn't end up working. But something did work out in Verstappen's favor later on in the race. In the end, Perez was the last car to come down and get fresh tires. Hamilton, having already made his pit stop, him and Verstappen had a massive gap between each other. Perez was the reason that on lap 21, Max had a chance to make the pass on Hamilton. Unfortunately, this would not end up happening, as Hamilton would once again get away from Verstappen. So far, the race had been all Hamilton. It was a late race safety car for Williams Canadian driver Nicholas Latifi, who crashed hard down in turn 14, bringing out the safety car on lap 54 of 58, 5 laps to go. Verstappen made the call to pit for the soft compound. Hamilton was told to stay out, having the opportunity of being overtaken too high. This would see to be Hamilton's downfall, as the lap cars between Hamilton and Verstappen were allowed to move. The safety car was coming to an end. It was going to be a one-lap shootout between title rivals, completely tied on points, and right next to each other, with only one lap to go in the final race of the 2021 season. Down into the hairpin, Verstappen made a dive bomb move and took the lead away from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton not giving up the championship. He was determined to stay right on Verstappen. Verstappen went wide through heading down into Ferratuva. Hamilton had the slipstream. He got right by Verstappen, but was in the end squeezed out. And with that, it spelled the doom of the Britain and Mercedes, and spelled greatness for the Dutchman and Red Bull. Yep. It was an amazing feat for Max Verstappen. And something he is now fighting for once again in 2022, but instead of Hamilton, it's Leclerc. However, it was amazing. A absolutely amazing season 2021 was. And I feel honored to be a Max Verstappen fan the year he wins his championship. His first ever.
The championship can only be won by one.